So you're ready to buy the Galaxy S20, S20 Plus, or S20 Ultra, and you're just not sure if it's the right move. Now listen, here's the thing. You know about all the good things about the phone. Everyone's telling you about that, especially Samsung themselves. And while I'm not gonna just sit here and crap all over it, I want you to know some of the things that you might not know about the Samsung Galaxy S20, S20 Plus, and S20 Ultra. Now, if after I tell you these things you still want to buy it, that's fine, that's great, no problem. But I feel like I need to tell you some of the things that may have slipped underneath the radar that may make a difference to you. You may or may not want to buy the phone after I tell you these things. I'm going to tell you all of these things right after this.
This is, you know you listening to Travis.
What up, players? Welcome back. And for all you new people, welcome. My name's Travis and I do tech videos every single week and have a blast doing them. If that sounds like fun to you, sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Anything I talk about will be in the description below. But for now, let's just get into the video. So the Samsung Galaxy S20, S20 Plus, and S20 Ultra are gonna be amazing phones. There's no doubt about it. We've seen some hands-on by different YouTubers and we've seen lots of articles written about it. So yeah, we know all the cool things. But there's a lot of things that may have like an asterisk next to them. That basically means that there's something that sounds great, but there's something else they're not telling you. And that's what I'm here to do. This phone is great. You'll have a great time with it. If you're willing to spend as much money as they are, that's fine. But I need you to understand a couple of things before you shell out the cash. And trust me, you're gonna thank me for this. Some of you are gonna hate regardless because you have nothing better to do with your day. But most of you are gonna go through this video, understand the reasoning behind it, and are gonna thank me. So, you know, you're welcome. The first question you should ask yourself is, do you even need an S20? Or would an S10 or S10e even work? You see, all those phones, the S10 line, have been cut in price. I actually talked about this in a previous video, and that value actually becomes pretty good. You can get an S10e for brand new for about 600 bucks. Not a bad deal. So it might be that a lot of you out there don't even need an S20, and spending at a minimum $1,000, and after I tell you some of the things that make the difference between that and the $1,100, $1,200 phone quite a bit different, you might realize you don't need to spend that much money, but you do want a great phone. Well, the S10 series is still there for you. You can purchase it right now. You don't have to wait. And they're all, you know, it's a low price. It's a lower price than before. But if you really do want to get a Samsung Galaxy S20, and I talked about this before, there are some great trade-in deals right now, depending on when you're watching this video, where you can get the S20 or all the way up to the S20 Ultra. The S20 Ultra for $700 or the S20 for $300, which is crazy, depending on if you have the right phone. I'll leave a link to the description of that in the description of that video that I talked about on Samsung.com site, where you can do some trade-ins. And by the way, Samsung does trade-ins and value and different kind of trade-in deals all the time. So if you're about to buy one and you don't need to go through your carrier, you want to buy one from the website, or even if you're going to Amazon, go to Samsung.com first and see if they have a trade-in deal. Maybe you can trade it in and get yourself a pretty good deal. I guess what I'm trying to say, and I've said this before, don't pay full price. There's really no reason that you should pay full price. Now, a lot of people actually pay their phones on a contract through their carrier. And the one thing you want to be mindful on that is that now, because of the price of these phones, a lot of carriers are actually stretching these out to 3 years. I really would not want to lock myself into a phone for 3 years, especially a phone like the S20 or S20 Ultra. That's just, I mean, it's a lot of money per month. Depending on who you're doing it through, even if you're doing it through Samsung's website, monthly payments on that thing can be kind of massive. And if you don't want a massive monthly payment, like $60 a month, which is crazy, they're gonna ask you for a big down payment, which could be a couple $100s, and that's not nice either. If you have a little bit of patience, there will be a price drop. I had someone actually in the comments section below in one of my previous videos actually say that they don't price drop. That's the most ridiculous thing ever. All phones drop in price, except for a lot of iPhones. For some reason, they don't drop so fast. But last year, the Samsung S10 series dropped in price on a sale on Amazon 4 months after it came out, 4 months later. And even a month before that, Costco had a sale for the S10 Plus for $700, which was over a $1,000 phone. So just have a little bit of patience and you might save a lot of bit of money. So now you know about purchasing the phone and when, where not to purchase the phone from and how long to wait. What about the phone itself? Well, number one, let's talk about the 120 hertz display, which we've been waiting for on a Samsung phone, and finally we're here, which is great, except for it's at 1080p. And more importantly than that, it appears that it's not even on by default. So if you actually get this phone and you turn it on, you might think it's not quite as smooth. From what I hear, By default, it's on 60 hertz, and that's probably a battery saving thing because, of course, as you turn on 120 hertz, it's going to use the battery more. So you'll probably have to go into your settings and turn it on. Now, by the time they launch, they actually might do an update where it's on by default, but I would be kind of surprised by that because, again, it does take up some of your battery. And yes, it can only do it at 1080p. So if you want the higher resolution on your phone, you won't get 120 hertz. Although there are other phones coming out this year where you won't have to make that compromise. 5G. This is where things get a little bit tricky. So all of these phones are 5G, which is great. They're baselining their series so that when you buy one of these phones, you're getting a 5G phone. I mean, kind of. So I don't know if you guys remember when 4G came out, everyone thought, oh, that's great, 4G, it's gonna be so much faster. And 4G was a little bit faster than 3G. Then LTE came out. Remember those two differences, 4G and then LTE? Well, we're kind of in the same situation. There's 5G sub-6 and millimeter. Listen, I'm not the one to kind of explain this to you. My friend Michael Fisher has a couple videos on it. I'm going to leave a link in the description below for that video. And I just want you to understand that there's basically two versions. One that's just kind of faster, much like 4G was from 3G. And there's another one that's like the thing you think it is, the really fast version, which is another type of 5G. And not all of the phones have access to that one. If you're getting just the regular S20, you're not going to get the millimeter speed of 5G. In other words, the best speed possible. You're going to get the peasant version of 5G. Only the S20 Plus and the S20 Ultra will give you the ultimate speeds at 5G. But again, there's a lot of caveats to that. 5G is actually really hard to get and maintain for any kind of distance. As a matter of fact, the video that I told you about, Mike Fisher did, he turned his back one time and lost all the speed. I mean, what? Now these phones have some great optical zooms, but the S20 and the S20 Plus only get 3 times, whereas the Ultra gets 10 times. And that's pretty sick. 10 times zoom is amazing. Now you may have heard about the 100 times zoom, but just forget about that. You're not gonna use that. Just get that out of your head. You're not gonna use it. Because if you saw it from the presentation, they showed you the best 100 zoom that they had. And it looked like a low polygon video game from back in the 1997s. Let's talk about 8K video. Now you might be excited to shoot that, but here again, we have a little bit of a problem. The S20 and S20 Plus can only shoot it on the telephoto lens, which is actually a big deal. And of course, the Ultra can use the normal wide angle lens. Now, why is this a big deal? Because for most people, when you're trying to take a picture or a video, you're not using the telephoto lens. It's zoomed in a little bit. It's kind of cropped in. So when you're trying to shoot an 8K video on one of the bottom 2 S20s, it's gonna be hard, if you even use this feature, it's gonna be hard to get your maybe people inside of the 8K image and hear them at the same time, because in order to get them kind of fully framed up, you're gonna have to push them back. This was not mentioned when they were talking about 8K video. They kind of glossed over it because I think they really want you to just know that the spec is there, but it's not something that you'll probably use. I mean, 8K, even if it was on the regular camera, you probably wouldn't use anyway. I've talked about this too. It's just a feature. It's just something that's on your phone. You're probably not gonna use it. So this probably isn't a big deal, but you should at least know that if you're getting one of the 2 lower ends of the S20, it's on the telephoto lens, and that is not a great thing. And like I said it last year, headphone jack's gone, it's dead. People didn't want to believe me. They, for whatever reason, didn't think that the headphone jack was going to be gone on the note when I said it would be gone, and it's gone. And when I said that we're never going to see it again, and it's not going to be in the S series, I was wrong again. There's no headphone jack on the S series. This is the first time the S series has the main phones without a headphone jack. The S10 5G doesn't count. It wasn't really part of the main series. They had to order that later, and it was only on certain carriers. But this is the first time where all of the S10, the S phones, S20 phones will not have a headphone jack. Doesn't bother me in the least, but you might want to know about it. Of course, the S series of phones can super fast charge, and the Ultra can go up to 45 watts, which is a super fast charge. But they actually don't give you the 45 watt charger in the box. So you have to buy that separately, and it's not exactly cheap. You can get a third-party one, but of course, if you're spending $1,400-ish on a phone, don't you think they should put in a little charger in there that gives me the full charge? Doesn't it make more sense to give me all the charge? I want all the charge. I gave you $1,400 of my dollars. Can you give me the $5 charger? Can we do that? In the 108 megapixel mode, really will be binned from 9 to 1 down to 12 megapixel to give you better low light images. So it's not like you're ever going to take a 108 megapixel picture and show all your friends and go, look how big it is, it's great. Well, that's what she said. You're not going to take a 108 megapixel picture. I believe you can actually select it if you want to, but don't bother. First of all, the image quality is going to be, it's going to be too big. It's going to be too big. And you're not really going to be able to do anything with it. So let it bend down to 12 and you'll have a great low light image. That's cool. But again, the 108 megapixel becomes this thing where you're not actually ever going to use 108 megapixels. So don't buy it for that. Don't buy these phones for 5G. Don't buy them for 108 megapixel, and don't buy them for 8K video. If you don't buy them for those things, you buy them for other reasons, you're going to be absolutely happy. At the end of the day, I guess what I'm really saying is don't pay full price for this thing and don't buy it for the wrong specs. Buy it because it's something that you know you're going to get use out of, you don't mind spending the extra money, and there's absolutely no other phone that even mildly tickles your fancy. There's going to be a lot of great phones this year for a lot less money. And even this phone, very shortly after it gets released, will be even lower. Really question, does it make sense to get it now? The only way I can see the answer being yes to that is if you're taking advantage of the trade-in value that I told you about before. Samsung has a great trade-in deal going on right now, and if you have like a flagship phone from last year, then it's kind of hard to pass up. Otherwise, you can give this a pass, get one of the S10s, and be just happy. Or heck, go for a Note 10. I mean, that's an amazing phone. It only came out a couple months ago. It's great. So I don't know, there's tons of options out there. If you still want to buy this phone, leave me a comment below. Let me know exactly why you're buying it. What's the feature that makes you want to buy this phone? I'm kind of curious. If this video helped you out in any way, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. And if it didn't, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. I'm here every single week having a blast. Hope to see you again real soon. Peace and love, peace and love. Save some lives.